Welcome to episode 73 in our series on the origins and meanings of Appalachian and Southern surnames. And looking across our names today, I can tell you up front that there are a couple of Germanic and French families, not to mention one or two from Scotland and another couple from England and Wales. We'll also determine that another name found among the folks of Appalachia in the South that was requested for today's show has an Old Norse or Viking origin. As you'll see in a few minutes, we'll cover some names that are also found on the Emerald Isle. So, I hope you'll join me. Let's get started. Number 1, Pike. There's an occupation or activity that I have literally dreamed about all the way into my 60s, and that's of course playing football in the NFL. I've mentioned this a few times in previous shows, but what I never really talked about are my dreams of catching fish with or without a boat or with or without fishing equipment. I'll resist telling you about my dreams of flying with or without airplanes. That'd be some Polaroid, wouldn't it? At any rate, according to at least one reputable source, the surname Pike first appears in London in 1290s. It was the name of a fishmonger. Now, a fishmonger is a person who trades in fish. It's speculated that the individual most likely resembled a pikefish. Now, that's kind of a sad statement, in a way. What do you look like? Well, I look like a fish, a pikefish. Don't take that to be applied to you folks. It's a long time ago. Like most simple names, though, Pike could have multiple origins and meanings. Another probable source for people from Appalachia in the South that have that name could have been derived from an English person who worked with a sharp metal tool or pick, as in a pitchfork. It could also be an English nickname for the French pic, as in a woodpecker, or Latin Picus. Suffice it to say that there are a dozen other possible sources for the name Pike that may have originated among the Norse, Germans, and Irish. If I were a betting person for people in Appalachia in the South, though, I would go with an English or Irish origin. That's the bulk of people who came here. There's some Germans too, but that's the bulk. Obviously, a paper trail and a Y chromosome DNA test would be a big help in locating the origin of your line of Pike. By the way, would you like for me to do a show just on the major DNA haplogroups and where they most likely originated? If so, please tell me in the comments section. I'd be happy to oblige you. Number 2, Lambert. This is an Old English family name that meant land bright. Now, I've never seen a land that shined and could be called bright by any measure, so I'm at a loss really for what that might have meant. It seems that Lambert was a mobile name around the Isles. It's found in the Scottish records as early as 1153. It was in Leinster in Ireland long before the plantation of the 17th century. As a result of the King James Plantation Initiative, though, Lambert became established as a family name in counties Galway and Mayo. An examination of Welsh records failed to show it among the traditional surnames of the Land of the Dragon. At the end of the day, though, I think you will need a paper trail to determine the origin of your line of Lambert. While linguistically it's an English name, your ancestors may well have come from Ireland or Scotland. Number 3, heavens. Oh my heavens. I hate to tell you that this name's original Welsh meaning had nothing to do with the hereafter. It was an English variant of haven, which is a distortion of Evan. Evan, of course, was a Welsh version of the name Scott. And of course, we know from a week or two ago that Scott came from Scotland. I hope you all got those connections straight because it gets more complicated. Heaven and haven are both found among traditional Irish family names, but when we add S on the end of heaven, we are referring to the son of heaven. By the way, Evans means the son of Evan, Welsh name. At the end of the day, you'll need a paper trail to locate the origin of your line of heavens, but all traces lead back to Wales. Number 4, Burgess. When I received this request, my mind went straight to colonial Virginia, where there was a legislative body called the House of Burgesses. How many of you just tapped into your high school memory bank, huh? It was the first elected legislative body in America. Using that fact as a foundation for understanding its origin and meaning, I can tell you that this linguistically Anglo-French Teutonic name, in other words, the Normans brought it to the Isles, was originally given to a person to identify his or her status as a citizen. Because Scotland and Ireland had freemen living in towns, they too adopted the English name for a citizen. Burgess, therefore, is found among the traditional surnames of those two countries as well as England. But I couldn't find it among the traditional surnames of Wales. Mentioning Wales quite a bit today, that's pretty cool. Number 5, Kreider or Kreider. We've now arrived at an Americanized German name for today. What name would you call someone who lives on a recently cleared piece of land in Northern Europe? Well, in German-speaking Northern Europe and Switzerland, they called some of those folk Kreider or Kreider. I couldn't locate Kreider or any of its spellings among the traditional names of the Isles, so I'm confident that Kreider came straight to America from Northern Europe or Switzerland. Number 6, Bethia. Now, I was happy to receive a request for Bethia. You might be wondering why. Well, I'm fixing to tell you. If you have an interest in Christian-themed movies, you will likely have heard of brothers Alex Kendrick and Stephen Kendrick. If those names don't ring a bell, how about Sherwood Baptist Church in Albany, Georgia? Does it ring a bell? No? Okay. How about the movies Facing the Giants and Fireproof? Facing the Giants was released in 2006, and despite some spotty dialogue and subpar acting in places, it was well received as a sports film that featured a great soundtrack and Christian plotline. Even with its shortcomings, it's one of my favorite top 20 movies of all time. Fireproof 2 is powerful. Erin Bethea stands out in Fireproof as a talented young actress. She was from Georgia. She held her own with Kirk Cameron. What about her surname though, Van? You're boring me with all this movie dialogue. Well, here's where I'm going to ask you to consider a name that's not suggested in any of the publications at my disposal. According to the Dictionary of American Family Names, Bethea is most likely a form of the Welsh Bethel, which meant bountiful Lord. Before you ride home to family, let me tell you that there is a minor name that was originally a woman's personal name in Scotland. It's spelled Bethia. If I were a betting person, I would go with the Scottish Bethia, not the Welsh Bethel. Number 7, Westray. At this point in today's episode, I was thinking that we were going to get by without having to mention or discuss any Norse or Viking names. That's not a problem for me, folks. I just thought that's what's going to happen. Westray was proven that thought to be premature. In Old Norse, Vester meant west, and Vray meant nook or corner of land. Now I can just imagine some Viking dude and his dudette deciding to settle down in the western corner of some piece of land, which in this surname's case was Cumberland, England. Well folks, that's about all I have for you today. I hope you got something meaningful out of the discussion. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until I see you again, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.